Ukraine has ramped up its domestic arms production as its troops face shortages of weapons on the battlefield. The rush to manufacture more arms follows long delays in Western military aid, as well as expanded Russian military spending that has given Moscow an edge on the battlefield. And Kyiv now says it will now be spending up to $6 billion on weapons production just this year to meet urgent needs on the front lines. Megumi Lim gained access to some of the facilities, scrambling to produce more.
In a secret location in the Kyiv region, armored infantry vehicles get their final touches on the assembly line. Novator is the name of this 9,000-kilogram machine designed in Ukraine, built to protect troops from shrapnel and small arms fire. This factory is just one small part of the country's fast-expanding military-industrial complex. The company running it, Ukrainian Armor, said production increased significantly since Russia's full-scale invasion.
For example, for vehicles, we expanded more than 10 times. In 2023, we start to produce each month same quantity as we produced in 2022. So it's quite significant. And this year, in 2024, comparing to 2023, we plan to expand approximately 3 times.
But this expansion has also meant a greater threat of attacks. Arms production during wartime is risky business. Facilities like these are a target of Russian shelling, which is why each step of the assembly process takes place at different locations. This one I'm at is the final stage, where GPS systems, lights and other components get fitted before these vehicles are sent to the front lines. Stocks look sparse at this warehouse where the company makes mortar launchers. That's because assembled items are immediately sent to the battlefield. Its production has expanded to 50% more than last year. Ukraine says its military-industrial complex is on track to produce $20 billion worth of arms this year, but it only has the funds to pass $6 billion worth of contracts. It needs local funding and its Western partners to finance the rest. For Kyiv, reforming its defense industry would help make future integration into NATO and the EU that much smoother. But the task of turning out more weapons is also about survival. Russian forces gained the upper hand after military aid from the United States stalled for 6 months, and Kyiv has had to play catch-up. A few years after its independence in 1991, Ukraine gave up its arms and nuclear arsenal, the world's third largest at the time, to Russia in exchange for security guarantees that its territorial sovereignty would be respected.
Ukraine is supposed to be like a very peaceful country, protected by the Budapest Memorandum. No one expects that something will happen, but the situation has changed in 2014. Where we face like a real challenge of aggression from the Russian Federation.
To make up for its shortfalls, Ukraine has also turned to its drone industry. At this factory, owned by Ukrainian company Skyton, expensive chips and sensors are being fitted to the Ray Bird, a long-range surveillance drone. Formerly established for civilian applications like 3D mapping, the company says 95% of its drones are now involved in the country's defense, and production has increased 7-fold. Its drones are able to fly hundreds of kilometers to collect crucial data on Russian supply lines.
If we do not destroy this area where they collect resources, we could not change the frontline situation, the position in the front line, because they have much more resources than we have.
And on the front lines, first-person view drones have flooded the skies. Low-cost, easy to assemble, and remotely controlled from the safety of a bunker, thousands of them have been used for reconnaissance and to drop explosives onto enemy positions. Many Ukrainians have been making them at home and delivering them to troops. This group I visited were software engineers, filmmakers, and entrepreneurs who began making these drones last summer.
We decided to assemble the drones so we can directly help the guys who serve in army to be more effective.
Russian forces have continued to advance inch by inch in the east. From big factories to homes, Ukraine says it has no choice but to pump out more weapons, and faster than ever before. Megumi Lim, CNA, Kyiv.